And let's get the latest in what is feared by some to be the prospect of a summer of political violence following riots in Southport and beyond. To discuss this, I'm delighted to welcome retired police officer of 25 years turned author Robert Soul. Let me tell you about Robert's book. It is out now. Have we got a still of that one? Let's have a look. It's called Barking Mad, the true story of a former serious organised crime agency detective who went mad in spectacular fashion after 17 years undercover, but survived and came out the other side dancing. Barking Mad by Robert Soul, former top cop who joins me now. Robert, lovely to see you.
Nice to meet you as well, Mark.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Did you come in the electric car again?
I didn't. Right. Never will buy one.
Because that basically kind of ran out of steam halfway down the M1 or something.
Yeah, the terrible thing was it was the A3 northbound out of Portsmouth, the arterial route, and you can't buy electric.
All right, but you see, Ed Miliband wants us all in electric cars. What's your answer?
Well, they're going to have to dump it up pretty quickly because the charging points I did find when I got to Guildford charge at 7 kilowatts an hour. That means 2 hours to charge your car. I was third in the queue. That's 6 hours at the charging point.
No.
It's never going to work.
Not
without the infrastructure being 10 times, 50 times better.
It's my catchphrase on the show, make it make sense.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Listen, delighted to have you here with us. Let's talk about these riots. First of all, it's very clear that a lot of the trouble has been driven by these far-right agitators, right?
I would disagree with that.
OK, go on, because I was going to ask you how big a problem is the far-right in this country?
Well, I never really came across the far-right was in the police, but there were some football hooligans. And whenever there's a riot in any shape, or a protest in any shape or form, you always get the guys who go there looking for a fight.
Yeah. So they're thugs?
They are, absolutely. If you go looking for a fight, you're a thug. But most people are up to their ears with the immigration. You know, and it's not a Labour problem, it's a political problem. If that young lad had killed those 3 kids the month before, Rishi Sunak would have been getting the bullet for it. And I've never been political. I've never voted in my life. Right. I've never trusted any of them. Because if you have a group of dishonest people at the top of your food chain, how do you expect the people below to behave?
Right.
And they're dishonest.
So you would say, for example, David Cameron's government, when they said we'll get immigration down to the tens of thousands, last year, 700,000, same government.
Yeah, and all they do is they use smoke and mirrors with it. And I'll take you back to when I joined in 1984, my first encounter, 1986, with illegal immigration. Stopped 4 guys in the car because they were driving awfully, pulled them out, no ID, no passports, no driving licence, no documents. Took them to Hammersmith police station. I was on my own, booked them in, rang immigration. What's the score? Well, I've got these 4 guys. What they're saying their names are. Gave them the names. Oh, yeah, they're definitely illegal. I said, what are we going to do? Immigration said, well, put them in a taxi, which we'll pay for, to a bail hostel in Lewisham.
A what? A bail hostel?
A bail hostel in Lewisham.
All right, so that's
bail them to the bail hostel
accommodation.
In Lewisham. A bail hostel, though, in Lewisham. Give them conditional bail to go there. No problem. A couple of hours later, a taxi driver rang me back at the station. They ran away when I pulled up.
Extraordinary.
So that's 84. And since then,
So we've had decades of that.
We've had 40 years of it.
Yeah.
And when I joined the police in 84, there were already small ghettos and places where the police were frightened to go, like Stoke Newington, Hackney, Peckham, Brixton. Police were frightened to go there unless they were mob-handed.
And of course,
that can't be right.
This is replicated in the north of England, the Midlands.
It's replicated everywhere now.
But you can't surely push back on this idea that what we saw in Southport on Tuesday wasn't, you know, a lot of racist, angry men looking for trouble, who just hate foreigners and want to go back to the 1950s. I mean, you could say far right, you could just call them racist thugs, but is the Prime Minister not right to focus on that or to identify that?
No, I think he needs to get the bigger picture going, because so many people I talk to every day in all walks of life in different parts of the country, they've had enough. Right. They don't want their country taken over. And I don't mean that in a horrible way. If they come over here by the right routes and they speak the right language and they get the right jobs and they contribute to society, absolutely fine. But that's not the case. There's lads roaming in every city in the UK, because we travel, me and my partner, every city. It's frightening. There's tension. You can feel it in the air. Birmingham, you can feel the tension. The Bullring, you can feel the tension. You can feel the tension up north. And I'm a northerner.
Well, a former top cop just a few months ago, writing in a Telegraph, pointed out that we had several years of Albanians coming into the country illegally, even though Albania is not a war-torn country. It's probably more peaceful than the Isle of Wight. And the Germans have been refusing accusing Albanians for years now, but we're soft touch on that one.
Yeah.
My understanding from this article by a former top cop writing in the Telegraph is that most of the drug gangs in this country are now controlled by Albanians.
Absolutely. In fact, down where I live in Portsmouth, there's a WhatsApp number available to people, and you can ring it. It's an Albanian guy will be with you in 10 minutes for a gram of coke. And it's a WhatsApp group.
Yeah, you can give me his number later, but I work in TV. Old habits die hard. What about two-tier policing? Do we have that, or is that unfair slur on...
100% right. And I've only been on social media now for the last 6 months because of my covert life. I shied away from putting my face in public.
Yeah.
And I'm here now today because I feel so desperate things need doing.
Right.
I didn't want to put myself on offer. There are contracts on my head to kill me. I've locked away some serious people in my time. But the country's got to change. The police have got to change. They've got to go back to being crime fighters, not revenue collectors.
They did do the right thing on Tuesday, didn't they? And they did the right thing 2 nights ago in Sunderland, which is to crack down on violence and police stations being burned down, right? Were you happy with their actions of...
I'd like the police to be... This is when I joined the police, and I used to deal with them the same. The police should deal with people the way the people are dealing with them.
Right. Right.
So there's an unmitigated amount of violence in London against people who have stood still.
Yeah.
And they need to balance... They need to be equal with them. If you're going to beat people because they're in a protest situation, then do that to every section of the community equally.
Yeah.
Equally as harsh.
Is there a political problem with Keir Starmer's approach to what happened this week? Because he does seem to have focused quite a lot on the far right and no acknowledgement of these simmering tensions within the country.
He's detracting from... He's using the far right as a reason not to deal with it. And the whole immigration thing. The whole migrants thing is a scam. We have been invaded by stealth. I'm an undercover...
Now, isn't invaded a rather inflammatory term?
Well, you can say that.
Maybe offensive, Robert?
I don't think it's offensive because it's factual. It's factual if it's not right. If it's wrong if it's not right.
If someone enters the country, fleeing for their lives or wanting to make a better life, could you really call that an invasion? No,
but it's not that, is it? They've been through Italy, Germany, France, and then to the UK. And they're piled up on the French side coming over. And back in the 2005, I was a boat captain as undercover for the police.
Yeah.
They asked me to hire a boat for £1,000 a day, go and pick up a load of illegal migrants in Belgium, but we were dealing with the European government and then the Court of Human Rights and all that sort of stuff. And when I was waiting for this authority to go, and then the boss said, oh, we've just had a direction from the European Court, you can't go until... you've got red life jackets for every passenger. And I said, sir, criminals don't issue life jackets to passengers. And that's amply demonstrated. Now, if you went to the news footage for the arrivals at Italy, there's not a life jacket in sight. But for every boat coming across the channel, red life jackets, because health and safety of the European Union won't allow them to board the boats. Now, I'm not saying
But what they could do, as you say, in a way it makes them complicit. But if they're putting a life jacket on someone that's about to break the law and enter another country, then in some ways, in a court of law, there would be some connection there, an accomplice.
Yeah, but the thing is, what you have to remember is, over on the French side, we aren't allowed to operate without permission. As an undercover cop, I can't go with the French side.
You don't have jurisdiction.
I'm not allowed to operate without permission. So I can't go over there and have a look at the migrant side, but the French undercover cops can. And that's not happening. The NCA has been in existence since 2013, the premier detective agency in the world, allegedly.
Robert.
Their results could be written about on a stamp with a pickaxe, as far as the channel's concerned.
Elegantly put. Well, listen, we know you got away with words because your book is out now. James, let's have another look at this. It's got to be a bestseller. I've got a huge audience, so let's shift a few copies, shall we, Robert? Barking Mad, the true story of a former serious organised crime agency detective. It's by Robert Soul. It's out now. Robert, we'll have to get you back in the studio. We'll get you a Tesla or something so you can reach Paddington in one piece.
Yes.
My thanks to Robert Soul. Next up, how does the next Tory leader solve a problem like